Hello friends, hello my young learners. I once again welcome you to this English class. And today we are going to read the second part of the wonderful story that we read, The Bond of Love, from your textbook Beehive. My dear students, here I would like to just have a quick recap of what we discussed. In the first part of the story, we read these following points. Encounter with the sloth bear. We saw how the author met or got that sloth bear. Poor beast was shot. The mother bear was shot and the baby bear was rescued. Discovering the baby bear, it was orphaned because the parents were shot. Rescue of the baby bear. Yes, the baby bear was rescued by the author and the other people who had accompanied him. This was a surprise gift for the wife of the author, as she was fond of animals. And her arrival, Bruno's arrival, or the baby bear's arrival as a new guest in the family, really gave lot of happiness to author's wife. Bruno was at ease, was enjoying his life at author's place. Bruno met two Alsatian dogs, and at that moment, what happened? Accidental case of poisoning. Yes, he had consumed barium carbonate. After that, what happened? There was treatment done. He recovered after the treatment. But this was not over. This was not the end. He was so mischievous that once again he had done such an incident that the author and his wife again got troubled. What was this? He had consumed old engine oil, but by the grace of God, nothing happened to Bruno this time. The bonding between Bruno and other members improved. Gradually, everyone started accepting him, and they were quite happy with Bruno. He was so playful. He used to play with all the children there, and even the neighbors. Everyone was very happy. But Bruno had to grow. He grew up into a grown-up bear. And this had become a threatening moment for everyone. Every member there, they started getting a bit scared. Especially the tenants' children. They felt unsafe as Bruno had grown up into a big bear. So what did they decide? What was the advice given by the friends of author and the son of the author to his wife? That it is time for us to send him to zoo. I think this was the part where we stopped our discussion. So with these ideas in mind, let us continue reading the story further. As Bruno had already left for the zoo at Mysore, they all missed. So we all missed him greatly. But in a sense, we were relieved. Why relieved? That at least nobody would complain. My wife was inconsolable. Nothing could console her. She was completely broken-hearted. She wept and fretted. Fretted means she was worried. She was very unhappy. For the first few days, she would not eat a thing. She had developed such an emotional bonding with this baby bear that she found it so difficult to live her life without that bear. She even stopped eating. Then she wrote a number of letters to the curator. How was Baba? Back came the replies. Well, but fretting. That means even Bruno, who was called as Baba by author's wife, they also the curator told that he was not happy there. he refuses food too. This shows that here wife was not taking food, there Bruno had stopped taking food. So Bruno was unhappy. In the home they found mother was unhappy. So this shows that they were having very good emotional bonding, strong emotional bonding. After that, friends visiting Mysore were begged to make a point of going to the zoo and seeing how Baba was getting along. They reported that he was well, but looked very thin and sad. All the keepers at the zoo said he was fretting. For 3 months, I managed to restrain my wife from visiting Mysore. Then she said one day, I must see Baba. Either you take me by car or I will go myself by bus or train. So I took her by car. Now it was high time for the author, and he decided to take his wife to the zoo in Mysore. Because whenever anybody would go, any of their friends would be visiting Mysore, she would have a request, please go and see Baba. Please see how is he. And they all felt as if she was missing Baba a lot. So the author decided to take her to the zoo. Friends had conjectured that the bear would not recognize her. They had guessed. I had thought so too. They thought perhaps Bruno or Baba would not recognize her. I had thought so too. Even authors thought the same thing. But while she was yet some yards from his cage, Baba saw her and recognized her. He howled with happiness. She ran up to him, petted him through the bars, and he stood on his head in delight. So you see the kind of expression. Even Bruno had expressed the kind of happiness that he experienced at the look or after meeting author's wife. For the next 3 hours, she would not leave that cage. She gave him tea, lemonade, cakes, ice cream, and what not. You just see the kind of care. She carried everything for him. Then closing time came and we had to leave. My wife cried bitterly. Baba cried bitterly. Even the hardened curator and the keepers felt depressed. There the entire atmosphere became so gloomy. Everyone was sad because it was the time for author's wife and their pet, Bruno, to depart. As for me, I had reconciled myself to what I knew was going to happen next. He had accepted. He had accepted, or he had understood what the unpleasant situation was. Oh, please, sir, she asked the curator, may I have my Baba back? You see now, she's not able to accept leaving that place without Baba. She makes a request that please, can I take my Baba? Please allow me to take my Baba. Hesitantly, he answered, Madam, he belongs to the zoo and is government property. Now I cannot give away government property. But if my boss, the superintendent at Bangalore, agrees, certainly you may have him back. So now there was some kind of understanding that let me ask our superintendent. If he allows, then perhaps we can give you back. There followed the return journey to Bangalore and the visit to the superintendent's bungalow. A tearful pleading. Baba and I are both fretting for each other. Will you please give him back to me? She makes this request to superintendent. He was a kind-hearted man and consented. Not only that, he wrote to the curator telling him to lend us a cage for transporting the bear to Bangalore. This superintendent also felt, also realized how close bonding was between the bear and his master, the author's wife. He understood, and he, being a kind-hearted man, finally agreed. And not only that, he even was ready to extend all kind of support to the family so as to enable them to carry the bear properly, to transport the bear to Bangalore. Back we went to Mysore again, armed with the superintendent's letter. Baba was driven into a small cage and hoisted on top of the car. The cage was tied securely, and a slow and careful return journey to Bangalore was accomplished. So finally, what happened? The journey back to Bangalore was accomplished, was achieved. Baba was brought back home. After Bruno's homecoming, now the preparations started. Because he was a grown-up bear, so it was not to be kept free. So they started making all arrangements. Once home, a squad of coolies were engaged for special work in our compound. An island was made for Baba. It was 20 feet long and 15 feet wide, and was surrounded by a dry pit or moat 6 feet wide and 7 feet deep. A wooden box that once housed fowls was brought and put on the island for Baba to sleep in at night. So here you have to note, there's nothing to make you understand or explain here, but you see what kind of arrangements were made by the author so as to make the stay of Bruno comfortable. Straw was placed inside to keep him warm, and his baby, the gnarled stump along with his gun, the piece of bamboo, both of which had been sentimentally preserved since he had been sent away to the zoo, were put back for him to play with. These are several toys that he used to play with. In a few days, the coolies hoisted the cage onto the island and Baba was released. He was delighted, standing on his hind legs. He pointed his gun and cradled his baby. My wife spent hours sitting on a chair there while he sat on her lap. You see how they are spending their time. They both are enjoying each other's company. He was 15 months old and pretty heavy too. He was quite grown up now. The way my wife reaches the island and leaves it is interesting. I have tied a rope to the overhanging branch of a mango tree with a loop at its end. Now, how would this reach there? How would Bruno reach there? Putting one foot in the loop, she kicks off with the other to bridge the 6-foot gap that constitutes the width of the surrounding pit. The return journey is made the same way. But who can say now that a sloth bear has no sense of affection, no memory, or no individual characteristic? I think all of you will agree after reading this story that even animals reciprocate. Animals also understand the kind of affection. They also remember the kind of love and care you showered on them. It's not that only human beings remember. I think you will agree that human beings do reciprocate, but animals are no less than human beings. They have the same degree of reciprocation, same kind of reciprocation. So never just assume or never take these animals for granted. They also have emotions. They also understand your feelings. If you remember, my dear children, in the first part, when I started this story, I had mentioned certain words to you. Can you just recollect those words? Just can you think of those words once again and see whether they are all justified here or not. When I had shown you the poster, I said there is something common. And what was that common thing? It was the bonding or the bond of love. And we see that it is also possible only because of the compassion. It is because of the affection. It is because of the care that they show for each other. And it is not only between humans. It is between animals. It is between humans and animals too. Both wild animals and pet animals. So my dear children, love animals. Take care of them. Don't harm them. Try to understand them. Show your feelings to them. Be compassionate to them. Right? So here the story ends and we have certain exercises, certain activities to do. Right? So shall we proceed? Okay. But before we go for the activities, let me ask you, what is the message? I think you all will say that as animals also feel the pleasure of love and pain of separation. When Bruno was separated from Master, felt the pain. Bruno felt the pain. Not only the animal, not only the pet, but also Master felt the separation. And love is always mutual. It always has to come from both sides. Like if Bruno was showing love and care and affection for the Master, perhaps Master must have shown the same way. So love has to be mutual. Now let us have some activity, some questions to solve. You have read the text. From the first part, we did some reference to context questions. Here again we have some reference to context questions, but here I have not given you the answers because reason? Yes, my dear children, you have been given the answers. You were thinking that I have not given you the answers. First try these questions, then we'll see whether your answers match with my answers or not. The first extract is, he stood on his head in delight. This is a line from the text, from the story. Who does he refer to? Quickly answer. Why was he delighted? Only these two questions. Then, next extract. We all missed him greatly, but in a sense, we were relieved. Now here, who does we all stand for? Who did they miss? And why did they nevertheless feel relieved? After all, why did they feel relieved? These are the questions for you. Just do it and then we will have a quick match with our answer. The first question, he refers to the baby bear. I think all of you have got it correct. He was delighted to see the author's wife after a long time. Then in the next extract, author, his wife and son. They refer to these three. Then whom did they miss? They missed the baby bear. And why do you think they got relieved? They felt relieved because it was getting difficult to keep the baby bear at home. The baby bear had grown and it was becoming dangerous for everyone. So they thought the baby bear to be shifted to some other place. But they were relieved because the baby bear was getting difficult to keep. Now again, some more questions. These questions are to be answered in 30 to 40 words. Why were the tenants irritated by Bruno? Why was Bruno sent to the zoo at Mysuru? Why did the author decide to bring Bruno back home? All these questions are from the story. It may include the part that we have already read in part 1. They may include the portion that we have read in part 2. So you have to sit, read your story once again and find out the answers. On 2 occasions, Bruno ate or drank something that should not be eaten or drunk. What happened to him on these occasions? You have to recollect the two incidents. Was Bruno a loving and playful pet? Why then did he have to be sent away? How was the problem of what to do with Bruno finally solved? How was the problem solved? What did the author do to find out a problem, or to find out the solution of this problem? So read the story once again and find out the answers. Okay? Next, let us have some discussion on the language part. In chapter 1, you had read about adverbs. Just for a revision, let us define or let us understand what adverbs are, or what adverb is. A word that describes an action is a verb, and we can make an adverb by adding ly to the adjectives, right? So adverbs are the words that describe the verb. Adverbs are adding the meaning to the verb. It describes the verb. And how do you do it? We just add ly to the adjective. Now find out the adverbs in the passage below. There are some words ending with ly. Find out. So you have the list: suddenly, unfortunately, right? Promptly. These are the words which are adverbs because they are defining or they are describing the verb, right? Okay. Now, complete the following sentences using the suitable adverb ending with ly. Now, you are free to write anything. I have just given you one solution to that. You can write your own adverb also. Rana does her homework carefully is the one which is given to you. You can write any other also, but it has to be an adverb because you see, does her homework. Does is the verb. Do is the verb, right? Or you can say do or does is the verb here. And it is how she is doing, manner in which she is doing, that is being written, that is being described by the adverb. So here carefully is written. Quickly also can be written. She does her homework quickly. She does her work neatly. Anything. Then it rains dash in Mumbai in June. It rains heavily. You can write. You can even write something else. He does his work diligently. You can write something which you feel is correct. I have just given these answers so as to give you a support. You can take the clue from this. You can take the help and find out some other adverbs which will fit in this. Okay. Next is similar question, but here I have given you 3 options and you have to write any one, the most appropriate one. Again, these are the 3 adverbs or adverbial phrases given to you and you have to complete these sentences using any one. We should dash get down from a moving train. So here you write, see which one is correct. Never, sometimes, often. We should never. Exactly. Then I was dash in need of support after my poor performance. What is it? I was badly in need. You see the adverbs given, badly, occasionally, sometimes. I don't think these will fit in there because he was badly in need of something. So when we say, we don't say occasionally in need of support or sometimes in need of support. No, he was badly in need of support after his poor performance. He wanted somebody to help him. Then Rita met with an accident. The doctor examined her seriously, immediately, suddenly. Which one? You can say seriously, you can say immediately or suddenly. There you can say the doctor examined her seriously. What was the condition? What was the reason? How to cure her? Even some may say that immediately also may be correct, but more appropriate here is seriously. Okay. Next, let us do some task where you will be allowed to express yourself. We have done a lot of language work, we have read something, we have also written lot of things, but we haven't got a scope to express ourselves. So here is a question for you, a small interesting task. Pets have unique care and handling requirements and should only be kept by those with commitment to understand and meet their needs. You must have seen several people, they keep pets, but they don't take care of those pets. They leave it completely on the responsibility of the caretaker, or they don't even care. They don't give food in time. But some of the people we have seen that they take lot of care. You see the case of author's wife. She took lot of care, just like her own baby. So now the question is that the pets who need lot of care and proper handling should only be kept by those with a commitment to understand and meet their needs, or anybody can keep. Some may say that no, we don't need. Some may say that yes, we need. We need to keep them properly. If we can't keep them properly, better we should not keep them. So some may be against this topic, some may support this topic. So this is the time for you to have an argument, right? This is called as an argument session, right? We will have some argument, or you can say a debate, right? Some may say, some may support, some may not support. So here it is time for you to think, but to just help you, I have given you some points in support, right? Let us see what are those. Significant role in the life of its owner. Every pet has a significant role. That's why we keep pets. They become members of the family. Don't you agree? Yes. They have emotions and sentiments. We should not just take them for granted. Then they play the role of a father, a mother, and a brother or sister. Sometimes they become such a member of the family that they start acting like a father or a mother or a brother. Then we also see that they need to be tackled properly and utmost care. If we don't care, if we don't handle them properly, maybe they will feel neglected and they will also start showing the same kind of reaction. Pets give us happiness and assist us in regaining confidence in trying in those circumstances where we are facing some kind of difficulty. Here, my dear children, you might be knowing that these days we have even some therapies, like we have music therapy, we also have pet therapy, right? Where somebody's pet is taken to the patient and the pet remains with the patient for some time, or the pet gives regular visits. This helps the patient to recover fast. So it is not just a pet, but they understand your emotions and they help you to regain your confidence and to improve your health, to improve your mental condition. Pets need proper care and love, but animals reciprocate love and take care of the entire family. Animals should be treated amiably and amicably. We should not neglect them. We should consider them as part of the family. So these are the points in favor. Now, some may not agree. Some may say, no, it is not true. They always disturb. They create nuisance in the home. And sometimes they pose threat on our neighbors. Neighbors also get disturbed. So many points will be available if you sit and think a bit. So these are the points in favor. You can just sit and think if you think that it is not something that you agree with. So you can go against the topic and you can write down. Now, my dear children, you see two posters here. Both the posters have some captions written. Kill cruelty, not animals. We have to kill the cruelty. We have to see how we can save the animals. We should not kill the animals. Because animals also say that we too feel the pain. We too feel what behavior you show to us. We also understand the way you treat us. So don't think that you can take us for granted. We also feel the pain. These are the 2 posters. Now what your task is, that based on the posters that you have just seen, you have to write a letter to the CEO of PETA. Now here, my dear children, let me tell you what PETA is. PETA is an international body which stands for People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. From the this itself expansion itself, you can get to know that it is something for the prevention of animals. And it is an international body, and we in India also we have a CEO of this body. So what you have to do is, we have to write a letter to the CEO of PETA expressing your views on how and why cruelty towards animals be stopped in our country. We have seen several examples where the animals are cruelly handled. They are mercilessly handled and they are mercilessly killed. So how can we stop it? Because these animals also are important, not only for having a balance in this whole world or this earth, but it also shows some kind of love and care for the human beings. They also have the same right as we human beings have. So you will be writing as a concerned citizen. You have to write a letter to the CEO of PETA which will include your concern and also how you can stop the cruelty towards animals. So with this, we come to the end of the session. We come to the end of the story with our discussions. And here is the list of sources from where the photos have been taken. And if you are interested, you can just go through all these and enjoy and explore more. With this, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed it.